Uh, Welcome to the video weekly presentation. Today I am going to talk about the concept that is relatively new, that is going around the IT world, that is bring your own device concept, or simply called as BYOD concept. So before getting into the details of the presentation, I'll first take you through the flow of my presentation. First I'll be talking about the introduction. I'll give you guys a brief introduction of what this concept is, and then I'll be talking about the popularity of this concept over time, and then the benefits of this concept to both the employers and the employees of an IT organization. And then there are a set of risks that are associated with this concept. So I'll be talking about those risks, and then on some steps to how to reduce those risks and implement a successful BYOD concept in an organization. And finally, I'll be talking about the adoption of this concept across some leading countries in the world. So getting into the introduction, BYOD is actually defined as a concept that provides device independence to employees in IT organizations. So that means, as simple as its name suggests, that is using their own devices as employees, they can use their own devices to do the office work. So that's the simplest meaning of this. So this is done in large scale in some companies, and for some smaller scales in some other companies. This was actually first initiated in 2009, but it was not that popular at that time. But since 2009, it has been growing with popularity, and now it has become a major trend in most of the IT companies around the world. Mostly small and medium-sized businesses are the companies who are mainly targeting to implement this concept, mainly because they are unable to keep up with some technological changes in the current technical world when it comes to physical devices. So that means they might not be able to upgrade a bulk of devices, 40 to 50 devices at once when it comes to device updates frequently, but their employees might be able to have some new devices with them which can be used for office work as well, with some varieties as well. So this concept is mostly adapted by small businesses which use a lot of mobile devices such as smartphones, tablets, or even laptops. So as you all know, if we have a set of new technologies in a company that are serving you, so that will be advantages for the company, and that will make you always ahead of the competition with other rival organizations. So that is the main reason that most companies are going along with this concept. But there is one problem. Why can't the companies just provide such latest hardware to the employees at their own cost and retain full control over the devices? Because if we implement this concept as an organization, they will not have a lot of control over the employees' devices and the information that is being accessed by these devices. So that is a total risk. So why take that risk? Why not just provide the employees with such hardware and do it at their own cost? But most of the professionals have suggested that trying to stand in this standing in the path of this consumerist mobility is actually a damaging exercise for a company, because as most of the companies have now already implemented this concept, they are already ahead in the competition than other organizations. So if an organization decides not to use this, most professionals have suggested that those companies will be lacking some competitive advantage over other companies who are already using this. So the best thing that a small business or a medium scale business can do is to identify the benefits of this concept, increase the benefits of this concept, and understand the risks and try to mitigate those risks as much as possible. So that's suggested that as the best thing that a company could do when it comes to this concept. So taking a look at the popularity of this concept, in 2012, after about 3 years since its initiation, about 6% of the companies had used this BYOD concept, but about 40% of the companies didn't even use that concept. But by today, by 2016, as you can see, more than 50% of the companies are using some form of BYOD concept. That means either they are using only employee devices for their office work, or they are using both employee devices as well as the company issued devices for their office work. So by 2020, it is predicted that only 15% of the companies will not be using this concept at all, and that 85% of the companies will have at least some form of this concept going around in their companies. So it is evident that this is a concept that is becoming more and more popular around the world with time. So for that concept to become that much popular, there should be a lot of benefits to both the parties who are engaging in this. So now let's take a look at the benefits of this concept to the employers first. The most important and the most obvious benefit is the reduction of technological costs, because BYOD concepts generally they require the employees to use their devices, so that means they can reduce a lot of money, lot of expenses on devices that they are using for the company at the moment. So that means that employee will have to pay for his own devices and device maintenances. So that is the major benefit that an employer can get through this concept. And 50% of the companies who have already implemented this concept, they actually have a rule suggesting that the employees should cover the services and service costs as well when it comes to this concept. So that means if an employee using his own laptop for some project work wants to go to surf the internet for something, so then he'll have to cover up his internet expenses as well. So the most important thing and the most surprising fact is that employees have agreed to this. That studies have shown that most employees don't care about paying for those those services as well. So that means that there is something in this concept that makes it more advantageous to both the parties. So we'll talk about the advantages to employees in later slides. And the next one is taking advantage of newer devices. So as I already told, if we have newer devices in a company and a variety of devices in a company, it will always be helpful for them to obtain some competitive advantage over other companies. So individual users generally upgrade to latest hardware when it comes to mainly mobile devices more frequently than most organizations. So that means they'll have access to faster devices as a company. So that could mean that this company is taking advantage of the latest devices that are around in the world, and also a lot of variety of devices. And the next thing is improved productivity. So by using their own devices, that employees know, and they know that they are familiar with their own devices. So if they are using those devices for project work, so that would mean that they are happier at work, and that would in turn increase the productivity of an organization. So that means if an employee is allowed to use his own device, so he will be improving the productivity of himself as well as the company as well. So those are some benefits of this concept to employers. And taking a look at the benefits of this concept to the employees, employee satisfaction comes at the top. So that means that is another side of improving the productivity of an employee. So when an employee is able to use his own device, he'll achieve higher rates of success because of it, because he's really familiar with the device that he owns. For an example, if an employee changes his organization and the new organization issues him a new device to work with, and rather than using his own device, so he'll have to get used to the new device again to start doing his work. So that means he'll not be that much satisfied rather than working his own device. So the best thing that employees can gain out of this is employee satisfaction, because most of the employees as workers, the most important thing they are seeking is their job satisfaction. So if it is achieved by using their own devices, using this concept, so that means that is a huge benefit for all the employees. And the next thing is location independence. So this is again a very important thing, because most employees can work from their homes as well if they are using their own devices. Because for an example, if an employee is on leave and he is going on some other non-work related journey, and if a client wants to have a small meeting with the employee to inquire about some project work, so if the employee has to cancel all his work and go to office to do that meeting with the client, so that would be that would not be convenient for both the employee and the client, because the employee will have to cancel all his work and he might have to wait for the next day to go to the office, and the client too will not have his meeting at the time itself, because he will have to wait for the employee to get to his office to start the meeting. So if the employee is allowed to use his own laptop or PC and access the company information, company projects, and have the meeting with the client from where he is right now, so then that would be really convenient for both the employee as well as the client. So those are some of the benefits that an employee can gain through this concept. So there are a lot of benefits for both the parties, as now we have discussed. But there are a set of risks associated with this concept as well. As every good thing comes with a risk, so this has a lot of risks as well. The first and most obvious risk is data security. Actually, there is no credibility to with whom the employee is sharing his work, because if he has access to company information in his own device, so then he'll have access to those information while he is on some other work, while he is on some other journey, or while he is at home. So there is no credibility as to with whom that information is being shared with. So that means that is a huge risk for a company, because even people from other organizations may be able to take a look at those information, and some valuable information might be lost because of that. So that is the most important risk when it comes to BYOD concept. And the next thing is lost or stolen devices. So when a device that has access to this company information is lost, so then this valuable information can fall into outsiders' hands, and there's no credibility to make sure, there's no way to make sure that this doesn't happen. So that is another threat to the existence of this BYOD concept. And the next thing is fired employees. When an employee is fired from an organization, legally a company might not be able to force the employee to delete all the company related work from his personal device. So that means that he will have access to that those information, some of those information even after he is being exited from the organization. So that would mean that this information can easily be lead to a rival organization. So that is another risk that comes up with this concept. So there are a lot of risks that we cannot take lightly when it comes to this concept as well. But since this concept has become more and more popular around the world, so that means there are some ways to reduce this risk and to increase the benefits and to make this concept successful in an organization. So now let's take a look at some of such steps to secure the BYOD environment in an organization. The first thing that an organization should do is that they should not implement a BYOD policy if they are not prepared to handle it, because it actually depends on the products of an organization. For an example, if an organization is creating applications for a military, or if they are using information that considers national security of a country, so they should never use this concept, because those information are too sensitive to be lost or being handed over to outsiders. So the first thing that they should do is they should do some analysis to make sure that this concept matches them. If it does not suit them, then they should never start this concept. And the next one is using a comprehensive MDM, mobile device management suite. So if you have a good mobile device management suite, then they will have the ability to keep track of all the devices that are being connected to the company information externally. So that will provide a centralized dashboard to manage and monitor all the devices connected to their company information at any given time. So that would make the companies more confident in giving access to external devices, because they have some sort of a track to measure the accessibility of these external devices. And the next most important thing is implementing a BYOD policy. So such a BYOD policy should actually include aspects such as how and when corporate data should be deleted, and what type of data can be accessed. So obviously there should be some levels of restriction, because all the information should not be allowed to be accessed by the company, the external devices. So there should be some levels of restriction based on the employee's job title and all, and what type of encryption that should be done to protect the data. So if there is some sort of a security implementation to secure all the devices that are connecting to their internal network at the same level, so then the company will be happier and more confident about the security level of these devices, because most of the devices, personal devices, do not have good security implementations. Most of the smartphones or tablets do not have good security implementations when it comes to personal devices. So if a company can start some security implementation that is securing all these devices as a single device, so then that would be ideal for a company to let the external devices to access their information. So implementing an effective employee exit strategy is one thing that they can do to reduce the risk of fired employees turning over this information to rival organizations, because if they have a good contract signed at the start of this concept, at the start of this program in an organization, and if the clients, if the employees know what would happen in legal aspects if they try to hand over this information to rival organizations or some illegal activities like that, so then they'll have a clear idea of what would happen to them if they do this. So if there is an effective employee exit strategy, so it will be always helpful for a company to make sure to implement a more successful BYOD policy. And the next thing is requiring device registration. So if all the devices are registered in the company, all the devices who have access to this internal information is registered in the company, so then they will have a clear idea of if an unauthorized device is being trying to connect to this company network, so then they'll have a clear idea of what to do to such devices. And educating the employees and auditing the company network are another two steps that they can take in order to make sure that the BYOD implementation is successful. Educating the employees means, as this is a new concept, so all the employees might not have a clear idea about what this concept actually is. So if a company can communicate all the rules and regulations of this program to employees before implementing this in an organization, so then both the parties will have a clear idea of what they can do and what they can't do within this concept. And auditing the company network frequently will provide ways of having a clear idea of all the devices that are able to connect to the company network, because then if there are any new devices that are trying to connect to the network, so then they'll have a clear ability to keep track of such new devices. And if you take a look at the adoption of this concept across the world, so most European countries have started adapting this, and they are the ones who started it actually. But if you look at the last 4 columns, in Brazil, Russia, India and China, so those countries are the countries who are predicted to lead the economy after 2020. So those are called BRIC economic countries, and in those countries except Russia, in Brazil, India and China, more than 50% of the companies have already started using this concept in some form. So that would mean that if the countries who are predicted to lead the world economy in the coming decade are confident in using this concept, so that means that this concept is bound to be more successful than not. So that would be a huge plus mark for all the companies who are targeting to implement this in their company. And coming to the conclusion, when we consider the benefits that we talked about in this concept for both the employers and employees, we can say that this is a win-win situation for all the parties that are participating in this. And as this is a growing trend, so this has a lot of risks. So there's nothing in this IT industry without any risk. So there's at least some small element of risk in everything we do. So if a company wants to succeed in this concept, they'll have to take a risk, obviously. But if they are able to reduce that risk to the lowest level as possible, so then they will be able to success in this concept. And as I was already told, before adapting to this technology, all the businesses should do some type of analysis to make sure that this concept actually matches their company, or if it does not match their company, because if it does not suit their company, they should never start implementing this. And finally, even some big technical companies such as Intel are already using this concept. So they have thousands of employees and they are using this concept successfully as well. So that means that this is even suitable for larger companies as well, not only for small and medium scale businesses. So that means that this is a concept that if it is done properly, that can be used for all the types of IT organizations without any hassle. So the most important thing to do is have a good BYOD policy in place. If there is a good strong BYOD policy which does not have any loopholes and which communicates all the rules and regulations to the employers and employees very clearly, so then any company in this IT world will be able to implement a successful BYOD policy in their organization. So taking all these conclusions into a single sentence, we can finally conclude that with a sound and security focused BYOD policy in place, businesses can mitigate the risks of this concept while taking full advantage of its benefits. So that means if there is a good security based and a strong set of rules and regulations and a set of terms and conditions, so then they will be able to reduce all those risks that we talked about in the previous slides, and they will be able to get full advantage of the benefits that we talked about. So the heart of this is having a good BYOD policy. If a company has a good BYOD policy that addresses all the nooks and corners of this concept, so then they will always be able to implement a very successful BYOD policy in their company. So that brings an end to my presentation. Here are some sources of data that I used for this presentation, and thank you very much for paying attention.